Hey, you dorks, this is Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you are listening to The Dorkening.
Hi, I'm Brian Johnson, and although you probably accidentally stumbled across it and have no idea why you're watching it, you are in fact watching The Dorkening.
Hello, this is Tom Kenny, voice actor, the voice of the Ice King on Adventure Time, and SpongeBob SquarePants. Ah, meow. Oh, Gary the Snail, too. Hey, guess what you're filling your eye holes and ear holes with? The Dorkening! Oh, I love the Dorkening. Very popular in Ooh, and Bikini Bottom.
Hi, I'm Lou Ferrigno. You're watching The Dorkening. And you know what? You don't like me when I get angry, so don't get me angry. You better keep watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, this is Felissa Rose, and you're watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, it's Courtney Palm. We're shooting Death House, and you're watching The Dorkening.
This is Anthony Michael Hall, and you're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned, my friend's going to show you what entertainment's all about, baby.
The Dorkening.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
And we are now live on another episode of the Indie Creator Spotlight, powered by the Dorkening Podcast Network. And we got an awesome show with you today. But first, we have Patrick.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well and enjoying their rainy afternoon, or at least it was raining around here all day.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty crazy. Patrick, would you like to introduce our awesome guest?
Leo, you know that I do. You know what I do. Today, we have a couple of gentlemen who wore many, many different hats on the film Beast Mode. They are the writers, directors, producers. Like I said, too many other hats to even mention. We have Chris W. Freeman and Spain Willingham. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. We're really happy
Beast
to be
Mode
here.
comes out December 1st. And actually, I got a link in the show notes down below or up above. Comes out on physical media and also VOD. And yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way.
Nice. Thanks.
Sorry if I interrupted you, Patrick.
Oh, no, I was going to, I just want to say that I had a lot of fun with this movie. And it seemed like everyone who worked on it also had a lot of fun because I was going into it thinking it was going to be one thing, and it was something completely different. And I loved it. It was so much fun. Like from the opening, the first thing I noticed is the pajama dog. Oh man, that was one of my favorite parts. The dog with the matching pajamas with the name. Oh man, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, Pat. We had no idea if people were going to get it or like it. I don't even think C. Thomas Howell knew if people were going to get those kind of jokes.
Right.
But yeah, I'm so glad you like those kind of details.
Yeah, Patrick. I actually grew up with Whippets, so that's where that came in.
Oh, nice, very nice. Yeah, because the opening scene is much darker and much more explosive. And you think you're being led down this specific path, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like a brutal, bloody horror movie, because there's some crazy shit that happens right off the bat, and then it's like, oh, here's C. Thomas Howell and his dog with their matching pajamas.
Yeah, and incidentally, Pat, that's actually real dog food on the plate, and C. Thomas Howell was eating real dog food in the film. He just figured that was, as depressed as Breen the character was, it was, why not? That's how it was.
It worked for Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon
3 or 2. Yeah,
I think it was 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about the dog, and I this is what I was talking about off air, like one of those like weird things that I tend to notice. The dog had heterochromia, which is 2 different colored eyes. His left eye was brown and his right eye was blue.
Blind in one eye.
Okay, I was going to ask, was the dog deaf? Because I know in certain animals, sometimes when you have that heterochromia, it signals that the animal is deaf.
Not deaf, but it was blind in one eye. That dog is a big surfer, and it's kind of got its own following. Beans the Whippet. You can look it up on Instagram.
Beans is amazing. Yeah.
Surfer. Of course, she's a big-time runner. She's a big-time sprinter. Everyone's like, oh, come on, don't work with kids or animals. You know the rules in filmmaking. I'm like, hey, this dog did everything that the owner pointed to. Beans did it. So it was a lot of fun working.
It was great. And C. Thomas Howell is a dog person. Obviously, he's kissing and licking its. The dog is licking his lips in bed and snuggling with. But Beans immediately went to Tommy and really connected. It was great. And obviously, the dog represents some cool stuff as people are actually turning into. The dog was supposed to go beast mode actually in the film, but
it was
in the script. He was going to tear up that gnome that he hated, and it was going to be like a nice little massacre. We were going to shoot it at a low ground POV from behind the bush and all that. And we just ran out of time, and we had to address the plot, the many pieces of plot. So
yes, yeah. He's not looking at you. He looks at everybody that way. There are some great lines in this, and like the first one that really stuck out to me was. And I don't want to spoil it, but the term or the phrase "full testicle cast" came up. I was like, all right, that's going in my notes because we have to discuss this. Like, that was great. I'm trying to imagine what that even.
You know what's funny is I had that in my notes as well.
I mean, I've seen full body cast, but.
See, imagine that removing that cast would take someone like with the deft hand of like a neurosurgeon or a sculptor, because they use like that drill to kind of like cut through. No.
Definitely a specialty position. You definitely want an expert removing it. Okay, we don't want just some average doctor.
Right, you want to be like the number one specialist in
soldering specialist.
I mean. Both the application and removal of that.
Anything involving all involved, right?
And I'll tell you, Teddy is method, so he really did it.
Oh, well, I would expect nothing less.
Yeah.
I need more tape support. But yeah, that really sets the tone for how this film is going to be, because it's it starts off like this is a horror, this is bloody and brutal, but then it just, like I said, it switches gears so quickly, but seamlessly. Like you're introducing all these different characters, and they all have their own little idiosyncrasies, and it works so well.
Very cool.
Well, I'm so glad you liked it. We were throwing a lot at the canvas, and we were hoping that it was going to work. And we had so many talented people working with us and helping us, and obviously, it's a insanely collaborative. The actors improv some things. Like I said, there were some really great gags and other things that we had to cut that we really wanted to do. So I'm glad it actually things we could not shoot in the script just with time and money constraints. And so we're really happy to hear that, Pat.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. One question I have, because I'm going through the IMDb page and I'm looking at the cast list. Now, this is a phenomenal cast.
Oh, totally.
Right on.
I mean, just the amount of talent and history, film history that's in this cast it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But my main question is, where did some of these names come from? And, for folks who are unfamiliar, here are a few of the names. Pish Rudebaker, Zelda Zine, Trammell Steadfast, Huckle Saxton, and Chrome Mangle. Like it's almost like you infiltrated a D&D circle. And
I'll take credit for most of those, maybe all of those. You'll have to, after our interview, click on my name on IMDb and look at the names in the previous movie. They might be even weirder than these. But yeah, I have always told myself, man, I'm never going to write John Smith or Joe Johnson. I'm never going to write a character with a kind of mundane name. So that's where that comes from. I think with my first movie, before Chris and I collaborated, the names in the movies were always really out there. And I wanted to continue that on this one. Who knows if we'll keep that rolling, because as you do slightly more mainstream stuff, and not to say mainstream like it's not indie anymore, but sometimes people are going to be like, look, this is too out there. But hey, as long as I can get away with some outrageous names and at least a few in every movie, I'll continue that.
Yeah,
I actually had some weird ones in here.
I had to dial Spain back, actually. There were a few.
There were.
I'll tell you what, I had to actually just put my foot down and say, we're not going to cast anybody in this role. I mean, so like, anyone's going to play this character. But that was part of the fun of us working together and just figuring it all out, again, and then I joined in for the fun, and again, who knows, toward moving in as we're adding characters, where Nectarine came from and other crazy names, but it was a lot of fun. So,
well, I mean, it's a trope that you see in a lot of these like action movies, like even a movie like Over the Top. Sylvester Stallone plays a character named Lincoln Hawk, like or Hard to Kill, I think it was, or Out for Justice, one of those two with Seagal.
Yeah,
like I'm Mason Storm. It's like,
it's so good. And there's definitely there's definitely an element of that. And, there's definitely an element of we wanted this to feel like an 80s fairy tale to a degree.
Yeah.
Everything we threw at it, we just kept reminding each other, this should be a movie that we would have walked into a grocery store in the 80s and gone to their little corner VHS, movie rental place where they literally only have what they have regionally. That's only what I mean? The cool stuff is the regional things. Like I've been learning that as a horror fan, that I missed out on all kinds of things that West Coast kids got to see that I didn't see, and same thing in the Midwest and the South. And so it's really interesting. So so we just every decision we make, we kept reminding ourselves, like, don't take it too seriously. Don't do this. We need this to feel like it was sliced out of the 80s, and maybe it's not all there. Like, I mean, the people who made it, maybe it's like the 80s brain that made it. So
I think too many people these days making movies are too afraid to try something with the freedom that Beast Mode had. Like an 80s movie, like if you watch Frank Henenlotter or Stuart Gordon movies from the 80s, they're just out there and weird because you want to escape for 90 minutes completely. So a lot of movies I notice these days are just, no, we can't do that. We can't. That's just so out there in non-reality. We got to at least confine to some reality here. It's like we weren't really interested in that.
Yeah, we had the we actually, somebody just mentioned porn names. Obviously, gentlemen, as you know, you've watched the movie. We have a lot of affection for the porn shop that is in the film, which was a very we just kept saying, like, are we going too far with? Should we place this? Should he be working somewhere else? But Jimmy was all for it, loved it, and so we did our best.
I think it works. I think it works really well, especially for what's going on. And Spain, the way you, it's funny. Like as I'm watching your character, and I'm like trying to place. I'm getting vibes of like Andy Dick and Andy Warhol. Towards the end of the film, like the scene in the car, I was getting full on Gary Busey vibes.
Damn!
Oh, there's no. I've never heard. He's the rich man's Gary Busey.
Andy Warhol. Oh my God, that's epic.
It's when you're hyperventilating. And okay, side note, we actually wrote there. So we actually put a couple scenes in the third act, including some of when Spain is in the car, with the hope of doing a sequel. So some of that stuff is actually going to make even more sense, like the phone call. And if we're able to do, again, another fun Cream movie. So,
and I'll just say this: he said sequel. It'll definitely be a TOO because nobody's done a TOO in decades, and we are.
I think Teen Wolf was the last
Teen
one.
Wolf 2.
Yeah, this will be a TOO. Yeah.
I'm hoping for at least some kind of cinematic universe, like some sort of crossover, because I will say one thing that I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
The scene with Scram, guys, at the very end with the goo, you missed a great opportunity to have him morph into Michael Berryman.
Right. Because he looks like a descendant.
A little bit, like certain camera angles as he's turning and spinning, like, and you're seeing all the changes. I was like,
wow.
Berryman. Classic.
I think you guys could have got. I mean, you got fucking James Hong, like, Jesus.
Well, and we did. You know what? And maybe we could have got him. The crazy thing is, it was one of these really strange. I'm so grateful that C. Thomas Howell and James Duval said yes to the roles, because suddenly other actors that I'd worked with in the past that we didn't know, they all were like more apt to obviously do the film. Because they trusted C. Thomas Howell and they trusted Jimmy. They and again, it's a small club, the actor world. So they've all, Ray Wise and James Duval had already worked together on something prior to and that was part of the way that we were able to get to Ray. Jimmy, made a call on our behalf, and we also reached out, and everybody full court pressed everybody. We were shocked that James Hong did the film.
We even had other names lined up, Patrick, that we just couldn't get to because of the
we had Tony Todd attached and committed attached script.
Oh, ready
to shoot.
We just couldn't get to it.
We just had too many. We just couldn't work it all out.
Sequel.
Yep.
And it's funny. What you guys are talking about kind of reminds me. Last week, my wife and I on our show, we interviewed a couple of folks who did a Nickelodeon documentary, and they said the hardest part was like trying to line people up, because every time they asked somebody, they'd be like, well, who else is on board? And I was like, well, this is what you do. I haven't made a film before, but I would just say, oh, well, you're the first one I asked because you're the most important. One we asked.
You fit right into beast mode, Pat. You
already know.
You had a producer credit before Spain, before Hampton did.
Facebook user says, Patsy, after Teen Wolf 2, there was Hoodwinked 2 and Dumb and Dumber.
Very correct.
Well, actually, Dumb and Dumber 2 is T-O. They misspelled it.
Oh.
But they do got me on the Hoodwinked. Yeah, we're definitely doing T-O-O. There's no question. We have to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Now, we do have the trailer. We're going to play that now, and I want to let everybody know that Beast Mode is coming out December 1st. There's information in the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And here we go. Here's the trailer for Beast Mode.
How would you like to be a rich and famous actor for the rest of your life?
Am I going to be in an actual movie?
You're going to be playing famous Hollywood actor Huckle Saxton.
Huck's dead.
So we use a double. You're going to need to look like him, talk like him, walk like him, and treat others exactly the way he does.
It's a lot of pressure to be an entirely different person.
Don't you have some kind of a magic makeup?
We came across this cream. Wow, what is this?
It makes scars disappear, wrinkles vanish.
It's got these amazing healing properties.
I just want to tell you to get ready for a change. The new me is going to be different than the old me.
What is inside will be outside, and what is underneath will be revealed.
What did you get into last night?
I'm telling you, there's something evil about this cream.
It feeds on the basest of human emotions: anger, rage, jealousy.
Some things are worth more than money.
Hatred.
I can feel it.
Anything evil.
Martha! What is going on?
So he's acting like the monster from the movie.
Not acting. He is the monster from the movie.
Somebody help me!
He kind of went a little crazy.
They turn into monsters because they are monsters.
It's like straight out of a movie.
Stamp out the evil you have unleashed.
There's no turning back.
Celebrity is a mask, and you can't take it off.
And that's Beast Mode comes out December 1st. And I know Patrick, we were chatting back and forth on Facebook. I know you loved it. I loved it as well. So there's a lot of awesome names attached to this. And there's also a lot of, the whole movie is a lot of fun, but it seems like you poke a lot at Hollywood, and there's a lot of, inside jokes that I'm sure I missed. I'm sure Patrick, you picked up on them. But like the line, they killed all the below the line people.
Some people might not get that, but the people that get it howl every time.
Okay, explain for those that may not get it.
I think Chris is better at this one because he actually worked in both.
Yeah, I actually wrote that line. So it's interesting. I wrote it and Spain delivered it. What it essentially means is, the above the line people are all the producers, the actors, kind of the elite in the world of Hollywood. And it's just so disgusting and absurd that they're like the below the line people are, of course, all the people doing the hard work, the blue collar work, the sweat, not that actors don't sweat and producers don't sweat, but the basic, the labor, the work. And so they're considered below the line. So it's kind of absurd. It's kind of like the Titanic, right? Like above the deck, below the deck, and all this kind of absurdity. And so we definitely tried to make fun of that as much as we could, and how some people will do anything for a producer credit, no matter how unscrupulous it is, or what it costs them morally or their integrity. And we've met plenty of plenty of those types of people. I can say that all of the characters are an amalgam of just all these random studio and professional people that we met and the industry, and we just did our best to lampoon them, and take them to as absurd levels as we could.
And we got a question. I wonder if you were inspired just a little by the movie The Stuff.
One of our favorites.
There are 2 remakes I'd love to make. This is amazing that this listener or this viewer saw this. Thank you, whoever did that. I would love to remake the Stuff and Weekend at Bernie's. Those are the two. Those are the 2 films I want to remake so badly. So yeah, we absolutely love The Stuff.
Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's is absolutely in my notes.
Yeah, there's some Bowfinger, there's some Weekend at Bernie's, there's some Blob stuff, there's a lot of
there's house stuff. It may not come out, but there's Police Academy. There's all these 80s these tropes.
American Werewolf,
much as we could. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely you definitely nail the 80s vibe, because there's so much of it that's and there's so much comedy, like the like certain lines like oh, are you a sandwich guy, Breen?
That one is going to get us in trouble, but man, we love that line.
That was yes. I'm so glad, Pat. I can honestly say you're the. I've heard people laugh. It's weird. We did it. We were in Toronto doing a screening at a festival, and at the Toronto Independent Film Festival, which was so awesome, and they were so great. And only 2 people in the entire audience laughed at that scene. They both came up to me after the movie to talk to me about the movie. So I thought that was awesome.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of those, and like I was trying to write, in my notes, a couple of things where it wouldn't spoil anything, but when you heard the line, you were like, oh, that's what he mentioned. Like, he really should have won that fight. Like,
oh no, yeah.
Another good one.
Phenomenal because of what just happened right there. It's like, oh, he really should have won that fight. Like that was because you get no context for it. It's like, oh, I did this because of this, and it's like, yeah. Like, C. Thomas Howell was so good in this.
Yeah. And he doesn't do much comedy, and I think that's why he did it, because he wanted people to see that, hey, I'm still funny. I did a couple of comedies decades ago, and you might not know it, but because he mostly does pretty sort of semi-serious stuff for the most part. But man, he's so funny, and he definitely took a lot from what Chris and I and Drew wrote, but he also was like, let's try it like this too, and we'll have both of them. And
his brain, if the film, if anyone watches the film, if it's remembered in any way, it's C. Thomas Howell created Breen, and James Duval created 2 characters.
Yep.
And they both pulled it off seamlessly, and with all of the challenges that they had to deal with us as well. Just the physical shooting, an indie single camera shoot. We drove people crazy. We know. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, for folks who are maybe watching or listening that aren't familiar with who we're talking about, James, the gentleman they're talking about, was in Independence Day. He was the old brother, and he was also Frank the Bunny in Donnie Darko. Like, those are 2 that I think our audience might know.
Yeah, Donnie Darko is so fun, and I was a big fan of that movie before I met James, and then when I met him, I think we hung out one night, and I was like, yeah, I don't know who else is going to be able to pull this off, so he was our first choice for that role, and he killed it. He did great.
Yeah. In both characters.
Yep.
Yeah, he really pulled it off, and it was scary. I mean, we kept saying we had we had a lot of concerns with just any actor pulling off 2 characters where they are polar opposite as human beings, and then somehow sliding back toward the other character as his moral compass changes throughout the project and or throughout the narrative. So it's kind of it was definitely top priority for us. And actually, when I came on to the project and the script and started rewriting it, Spain and I and Drew, we knew we wanted C. Thomas Howell to play Breen. So I literally tailored it to, I tried to do as much with it as I thought that would entice him to want to, come do this comedy. I shot a Christmas movie I produced with C. Thomas Howell in it, and he was hysterical in it. And I also had worked with him on another one of my kind of action comedies, indies that I did, Rivers 9. And so I knew he could be hysterical, and I knew he brought a lot to the table. And I also knew how much fun he was having in the I thought, wow, if he does a comedy, it's going to be really cool. We're getting an Academy Award level actor to play the lead in this thing. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will say one of the things I noticed, like, because there are certain characters that are definitely like complete jerks, and you're supposed to hate them. Dustin Fox, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm writing as I'm sitting there. I'm like, Dustin Fox deserves whatever he gets. Absolutely, it's like there's stupidity in horror movies, and like he doesn't know that what's going on. He's just like, I wonder what this is. Oh, better rub it on my junk. Like,
like what you do when you don't know what something is?
Oh man, that's good. Yes.
Just to break in here real quick, Rob Shelby in the chat room says hugs all. And,
right on.
For
those of you that don't know her, Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Awesome.
Wow.
Sorry, Spain, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's amazing.
No, anytime.
Yeah, for real.
That's what you're interrupt things.
Robin, we've had her on the show. She's we should have her on again. She's awesome.
Wow, that's one of my favorite all-time movies.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that for him, for that to be his first instinct. Oh, what is this? I don't know what it is. Well, let's see what happens when I. Why would you do that? Why would that first thing to apply it with a toothbrush cannot be comfortable?
I think that I think the basic premise was that this is an actor who's completely gacked out of his mind on drugs, and he is unfortunately there's a lot of actors in Hollywood that are intense like this, and they're on some kind of accelerant and they don't know what's left from right, and they're a little crazy. I need the role, give me the role. We're doing the movie, right? And we just took it to extreme levels, obviously. So
Little bit of trivia. That's actually one of our producers.
Nice.
Yeah, Aaron Scotty. Yes, awesome actor, awesome producer. He also produced Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh, very nice.
One of the producers on that.
Yeah,
he did a great job. Like you have this instant distaste for him.
Oh gosh,
which is it's a good. I tell you, I like to look for like Easter eggs and things, and I wasn't able to read what was on the chalkboard on the lunch menu chalkboard, because I'm sure there was something thrown in there, but I was unable to see it from where I was sitting. But maybe on a closer inspection, I'll get to see something.
There may be something. There's definitely something related to the film on there for sure. Yeah, related. To the
oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because I'm sitting here going like, I remember the second. It's like, Chris, what are we putting on the chalkboard? And it's like all a blank after that because it was like a 16-hour day. And again, our biggest concern on that day was Robert Costanzo, who again we love. All these actors are some of our favorite actors. So to work with them, it was so amazing. But he had a poker game to get to, and he's just like, when are we going to be done here, guys? I got to get to this game. And it was just awesome. It was awesome. It was like, I was like, are you just telling me this because I'll think that's awesome? You know what I mean? Because you're Robert Costanzo, who's played every gangster to Total Recall, every blue collar guy.
Die Hard 2.
Die Hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Honeymoon in Vegas. He was a PI in that. He's just, he's amazing.
Batman animated.
Not to mention a little fact. He was on Different Strokes too, which is awesome. That means that our degrees of separation to Different Strokes, it's like right there.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool. But
yeah.
So, Spain, I need to know: does a producer credit open so many doors?
Oh man. You wouldn't know until you get it, because going from below the line to above the line just means everything to Hampton. And he did get the task done, not to spoil, but the viewers will have to see if he even becomes a producer. Maybe not. I'll let them have to check it out for their own.
I mean, it's definitely a long journey.
Yeah.
Arduous, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there was something I was what was it? Oh yeah, the another thing in my notes that I saw. I wrote, I don't know why everyone is so gung-ho about anal bleaching, but of course Huckle would be the kind of guy to do it.
Wow.
Oh man, I'm so glad it was time. And Leslie Easterbrook had no problem. She's so amazing and she was excited about that scene. She thought it was hysterical. So I always worry if people are going to tell me they don't want to do it, like at the last second, and not pros, but just that whole, like, maybe there was something we didn't discuss or that we missed. And as absurd as this some of it is, and some of the dialogue, yeah. So it was pretty. She was awesome.
I mean, I also wouldn't have been like surprised to be like, yeah. So like we got up to like this certain point, and then like on the close up, it's actually Spain's hands applying everything because let's do it.
We actually were going to have a Spain or have Hampton in a beautician chair and have the have the lid come up with his hair with his white wig like attached, but we didn't have time to shoot that. Like, I mean, literally, I had the shot on my shot list. We were setting it. I mean, we just didn't have time. We just didn't have. Yeah. Those are the breaks. Those are the tough life. It's what it is.
So you definitely do a lot of poking at TMZ, and then one of the lines they're asking for. I don't know if this was had anything behind it or if it was just a throwaway line. He was asking for the 2004 hit and run information.
Yeah. That's one thing that can sort of get a little lost in the shuffle sometimes. The hit and run is basically Huckle's doing. It's something that Huckle Saxton, this bad boy a-hole in Hollywood, was a part of. And basically what that's about is Finnegan, our ZMT host, has that information, and I think he's sort of blackmailing Scram. That is one scene that kind of pops up because you're wondering when he's calling Chrome, he's like, I've got some information about maybe who your brother's killer is, and that's who was unfortunate demise of the hit and run was Chrome's brother.
Yeah, that's definitely we had more meat to offer to the audience for that to make sense, but that Spain did a pretty good job. I mean, that, and we wanted to kind of capture some of that 30s speak, with Bobby Costanzo, and he's like, cut it with the sausage meat, I ain't buying it. We kind of wanted to have those 30s. So we also like the idea of the big bad studio bosses that covered things up, and not they just do it. They just have a lot more money and they're more sophisticated now. Yep. Back then they buried bodies in the desert, and the LAPD was corrupt, and so we just wanted to poke fun at that and try to bring some of that old Hollywood vibe back to it too.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun to have a bunch of side stories all culminate to the end. You've got Tremble, Steadfast, and Hampton, and you've got Chrome and Finnegan, and you've got all of it coming to a head at this party. So that's one of my favorite things in these horror comedies from the 80s is seeing these side stories all kind of
the zaniness. How's it all going to wrap up? Kind of, just not as we expect, hopefully, but what we want. Yeah.
So I have a question about one of the shots, and it might be my favorite shot in the film because it's so simplistic, but it's so cool. The blood on the light bulb, especially after such an innovative kill. I really liked that shot just to see it kind of sizzling there for a second and bubbling. That was a great shot. I just wanted to throw that out.
Awesome. I've never seen it before. There was literally blood that had gotten on this light bulb, and some of the bulb was broken. So it was like bubbling on the bulb. And I was like,
and it was actually that. Well, what's really cool is it was actually scripted that we shoot because we were in the makeup trailer, and on the shot list we knew we were going to get blood on the mirror and then on the makeup lights. That was pretty important to us to make sure we at least got a nice image of that to cut away from as we cut back to see Thomas Howell walking on the wide through the trailers. So we knew that. We're so always surprised when things work like that. You're like, oh, on the day you're like, I thought this would look better. Oh, what do we do to fix this? And that was really cool. That was a really awesome day of shooting.
He said it took like 18 months to clean that trailer. I'm not even kidding. He said to us, thanks a lot. Maybe next time you buy the trailer and do that. It took us about a year and a half to clean that.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
If you keep everything.
Well, they were only killed a little bit.
Yeah.
hey, but the good news is the name of his company is all over the movie. So as the bigger the movie does, the better it is. He'll end up,
right.
Someday.
Yeah, he was cool. We had fun shooting there.
Roger was great. Yeah.
We had fun shooting at every location. We never had a location where we were like, this is just not working. Like we were lucky. We had a lot of fun locations. Sometimes we were inside, shooting on like a set, like the bar where, Kira and Huckle are hanging out when C. Thomas Breen comes in. And sometimes we were out and about, like when you saw the big party, that was up North LA, and we're outside and under the stars. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, a lot of locations all over SoCal.
So speaking of the filming process, so you said this was a single camera shoot. What was the camera? Any difficulties with sticking with a single camera shoot, and how long did it take you to film?
Whew. Well, we shot on all kinds of digital cameras. I mean, we shot on the Alexa some, we shot on the Red. There's literally probably 4 or 5 different kinds that we did. We used GoPro footage that we then had to alter. So that was with the beat down with Finnegan when he had to be in the testicle cast. So we shot, that was supposed to feel like cell phone footage. So we had some of that. But we always shot with a single camera. And one of the reasons why, we did that, and I'll let Spain take the rest of the question. Is again, we really wanted it to feel, in the 80s, all these movies that we loved from the 80s, a lot of them, first of all, they shot on film, so you don't get a million takes. We didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't get a million takes. And they were shooting with a single camera, which means you can't shoot 2 angles at the same time, which means the action is not always going to match exactly when people do a scene a second time and all this. And there's a certain charm to that. There's like lightning in a bottle when you see the chemistry. It's almost like the actors work a little, they take every take a little more seriously, and they're not, and so it really made it feel, I think, more authentic to what we were trying to do and that was, again, make an 80s film that is an 80s horror comedy that, has a lot of the technical elements, including gore and blood, and not a ton of visual effects. So that was all really important to us.
Absolutely. It was definitely important to do as much gore in camera as we could. There's a little bit of visual effects, obviously, to clean up when you can't do everything in camera, but lots of practical effects, which not easy, much harder to do. But for gore hounds and for people like us that grew up in 80s cinema, you definitely want it to be practical. It's very obvious when it's not. Even that we're in almost 2021 here, it's still so obvious when there's CG gore. Even sometimes it looks really well, it still kind of brings you out of the movie. But yeah, we mostly shot on the Alexa, and for my money, that's probably my favorite when comparing to the big cameras digital of today. Red and Sony has a great one, and you put these Master Prime lenses on an Alexa, and for my money, that is the best look. Matt Ryan, our DP, is so amazing with how he captures light and scenes and brings it all together. We were really impressed, and he's great. He's become one of our great friends, and he's just going to be, he's going to be doing big stuff. But yeah, we did film it in some sections. There was a time when we didn't quite get it all in the can, and we had to go back and gather the troops one more time. And, oh, your hair is a little different now. Let's cut it back to where it was. And yeah, luckily it didn't go so long that people aged. It's not that crazy.
Let me add one thing, Spain.
Yeah.
Just to the element of bringing actors back where they have a little bit of different looks. the thing that really helped us in this film is, number one, we would never have had Ray Wise if we had shot everything right when we did. And so we were able to, work with Ray, which was so awesome. And, he's so great. He's one of our favorite actors. And, but what's also interesting is some of those imperfections, I like them. And I've actually been told by people, they're like, wait a second, this is different in this scene. Is this intentional? Is this not intentional? And that's what's so fun about these 80s movies, that you ask those questions sometimes. So
yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Like, for one example, there's so many, but one example, Basket Case. That was filmed over several years. He would film a little, show off the footage to the investors. They'd say, you know what? This is looking better and better. Let me give you a little more money. So we didn't quite have to go to that extreme, but it's kind of how it goes sometimes. I mean, you want to make it better. You want to get exactly what you want. You don't want to compromise, because you know that once it's done, that's it. You're not going to go back and get the crew and the cast again. You got to make up your mind and find out what is imperative to make this movie amazing and as fun as we can possibly make it. And I had to read about some of my favorite filmmakers from the 80s, some of their struggles. It was definitely, I felt their pain because Chris and I had to live it. But we're so happy the way it came out. And going on the road last year with the film festivals, a lot of fun reaction, a lot of people running to us after it was over going, I haven't seen anything like this since basically the 80s. You guys really get it. And we're products of the 80s. I've been renting 80s movies since 83, 84, right when VHS started really coming out. So we love it. We want to continue doing this stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that. Just one last thing with that. Just hearing people talk about the film that love horror movies and again horror comedies and lines like Pat. Pat's been mentioning some lines here and there, and it's like I am such a fan of movies, and that's like, this is my greatest satisfaction and happiness, is just knowing people are enjoying the film. I'm kind of like Breen, I guess. I just wanted people to like this movie, and I'm glad that there are, it's going to find the right crowd. I guess my kind of people, and you guys, the people who listen to this podcast. So that's who we want to listen. They always, I think all these sports teams are like, oh, that's not our target audience. That's not our target. Our target audience is people who like blood and gore, like
to laugh and drink beer.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, the audience that you're shooting for is definitely like, exactly what you're talking about. The people that would, go into the mom and pop video stores and pick something based on the box art.
Yep.
I mean, that was me. That
was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do want to touch on one thing, because you guys were talking about shooting with a single camera, and I think this really helped in the climactic fight scene, because so often you see a fight scene and it's like a guy takes one swing and there's 3 cuts. It's like, why? What are you doing?
It's so often.
Right.
And you don't know what the hell is going on, who's where. Like, there's so many cuts, there's so much camera movement. It's like, all right, we have 45 cameras, and we have, all right, I need you to start to throw a punch. Okay, get the stunt guy in here. Okay, we're gonna cut it. It's like, it's maddening. It's like, I can't enjoy a fight scene.
I shut off a movie because of that the other day. It's a brand new movie, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but oh my God, the camera cuts was so god awful.
Marvel does it all the time. Like, trying to watch Thor, the first Thor movie, when it was all Dutch angle and they were doing all those cuts.
Sometimes an editor can salvage a not so great movie, and sometimes a great movie can be ruined by an editor. But it's not always the editor. The editor can only do what he has to work with. Like, a chef can only make with great ingredients, even if he's the greatest chef. So it's a tough medium between great footage and, of course, the great editor, who's the end game of your post-production process.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Pat. But Leo too. We shut something off that I thought I was gonna like a couple months ago, and again, I won't say the name, and I just couldn't. The first 10 minutes, it's just I had no idea what was going on, and it was an action sequence, and so I'm just like, okay, you lost me on this one. So
it's so frustrating when it's like, okay, we're going to set the mood so it's going to be dark and there's like 30 people in the scene and you have no clue what the hell. We have to cut back and forth between different characters, and it's like
we wanted ours to be wide so you could see the fight.
It was choreographed very well.
Thank you. Yeah, our stunt coordinator Johnny was awesome. The stunt guys were awesome. They got it. They really got into it. I mean, they were like, we're okay, so we're monsters. It was it's just a kind of weird thing where we all maybe wanted to be able to turn into a monster. I know Lou Ferrigno did a promo in the one of my heroes, and it's just like it's such the monster inside of us kind of thing. And yes, so they deserve all the credit for it, for the scene and the DP. We were really ripped on time, and I was Spain was about to have a nervous breakdown, and I was keeping it together, but my blood pressure, I was probably about to have a heart attack. So we were good. So between the two of us, he was going to the mental institution, I was going to the morgue. And so at the end of the movie, and we still had to shoot and kill him. So
I was from the crane because I accidentally got hooked. And the crane went up to get the light, and no, I'm kidding. But it felt like it was a crazy night, man.
It was crazy,
but it was done well. Like that's the important.
All that matters is that you think that, Pat, and that someone prints at what you say sometimes. Pat is always right. That's what it's.
So true.
I tell my wife all the time, but somehow she doesn't agree.
I'll bet.
Okay, I need to know, in the LA scene, do people actually keep tranks in their trunk?
That's kind of an LA thing, actually.
Really? Tranks.
Oh yeah, tranks. No, that's more of like Huckle is so out of control that they've had to trank him multiple times. In the past. And that, it was one of those things, how something becomes normal to people, but it shouldn't be normal. That's really what we wanted that to feel like. That, they're like, of course I do. Like, of course I've got the tranks. We always have the tranks. I never know when I'm going to need them with your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably very strong. Like, it's like because of the amount of drugs that guy does, it's like
it would take 6 strengths for Huckle.
It's like this could take down Huckle or possibly a bear.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And luckily, Alana, his wife, Alana, the actor, the actress who played, she's so awesome in the movie.
She was great.
Have her. Yeah, she's so well. She's just got great timing, and she was just perfect for the role for Muff. But so she, obviously, she was not quite prepared. She's got a lot of booze in her body, so
Flex, not Muff. You were talking about Flex, not Muff.
Flex, right? Sorry, Flex. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It's a lot of weird names, man.
Hey, that's what you get for making all these wacky names.
Exactly what we get.
I mean, I've never met a Breen and I've never met a Flex, so as long as I haven't met it, then it clears the code.
I mean, Flex probably would have been a better name for Dustin because of like how much of a beast he was.
Yeah, how much of his
I'm Flex Dexter, like that's my name.
So too.
Flex Dexter's making it in, Pat. That's
awesome.
Making it in.
I know we are coming close on time. Patrick, was there anything else you wanted to make sure we covered?
I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. And the stuff that I didn't ask, there was you guys covered organically.
Right
I did want to point out that I did like some of the special effects every time somebody put some of the makeup on. It was kind of cool. And the when Scram puts it on, it's almost like, and the first thing I thought of was it's like these Instagram models using Photoshop to smooth out their skin. That's what it looked like to me.
That's it.
You are a detailed viewer. You saw that.
Yeah, that's exactly, again, that's what it was supposed to be.
Yep.
That's the first. I was like, oh, Instagram filter. Like that's what this flower makes.
It's
and
very
I love
much like the essence in Dark Crystal. It just smooths your skin.
And that the nature of the flower, where it's it's impartial, it's neutral, it's fair. It's like this is what it does. It's your choice. It's not inherently good or evil.
Right.
It is what it is. You are what you are.
What is inside will be outside.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I highly recommend this to anybody who is a fan of any of these things that we've been talking about. 80s films, horror comedies, fourth wall breaking, because we get a little bit of that.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, I really enjoyed that as well.
It's a lot of fun, and like I said, it takes you in one direction at the beginning and then kind of shifts things around, and then it goes in so many directions, but like you never get lost at any point. Like everything is still coherent. It's a straightforward story. Like there's a lot of bonkers shit going on. Like there's a lot of really complex, interesting characters. The whole those are just props. You're fine. Like that part was great. There's a lot of memorable lines as well, as you can tell from what I've been talking about. But yeah, I think the actors did a great job. All the way up and down, of really getting across who their character is without like an exposition dump. It's
right.
That's my least, Pat. That is my least favorite. When someone goes up and says, "Listen, in High School Movie, I know you're the most popular boy in school, and I know that we've been best friends since we were in kindergarten, and I know our parents vacation They give you all that exposition before they say what they're going, because no one would ever speak that way.
Yeah,
so,
people talk.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, exposition is tough. It's really difficult to, I'm glad you brought it up, because there was actually kind of quite a bit of this. And someone like Doug, Doug Bennett, who plays our mysterious man Ezekiel, who gives the cream, the peddler of the cream, and the guardian of the cream, really. He's awesome. And if he wouldn't have been so awesome, that would have been tough for us to get all that out to everybody. So
the thing that came to mind is like I've been watching these Shaw Brother films recently, and there was one I watched the other day where like a wagon fell down, and the guy stood next to the wagon, like the main bad guy's like, I can't fix the wagon here, but if I wait and I go ahead to the town up, I can wait for them, and then I can steal the gold. And it's just like, who are you talking to?
Does he have a cell phone? Yeah, right. No, it's so true. That's it's the hobgoblin of telling a story. Is you got to get the exposition out, and you got to try to do it well.
Yeah, you know what they say in the film: "Tell, don't show." Right, like that.
Right. You got it right. It's not the other way around.
So, you guys worked with so many awesome people. We talked about C. Thomas Howell, Leslie Easterbrook, James Hong, who does not age at all.
His 90s.
That's insane. Ray Wise, James Duval, Doug Bennett, and the list goes on. Was there anybody that you guys really, nerded out or dorked out for working with?
I mean, yeah, for sure, because I've been such a David Lynch fan. All his stuff, especially Twin Peaks, big Twin Peaks head right here. Me and Mom back in 1989, 1990, watching it on ABC. So I had to be calm when Ray arrived, but it didn't last long, unfortunately. And he was cool about it. He was like, "Oh man, anything you want to ask me while I'm getting ready." And we brought up Twin Peaks, RoboCop, a few other things, and he mentioned that he had worked with Leslie and a few of the other members, and he was one of the nicest people I've ever worked with. And he was great because he was method, and those beers that he's drinking, he was really drinking those beers, and after 2 or 3 of them, he's chugging them. I'm like, "Ray, we got a few more don't feel the need to. He's like, no. Trammell would want to taste this beer, and
he's like, I'm not hammered yet. No, I'm just kidding.
7 of them in the less than an hour, and he was like water, like nothing. Dude was amazing. He was just so fun to hang out with.
I would say too, I've worked with Leslie Easterbrook in the past and C. Thomas Howell both. And, I still nerd out, really, I hate to give this answer, but all of them in a way. Spain may have had a little more downtime than I had on the film. So I unfortunately didn't always get a chance to geek out the way I wanted to because I was worried about every single thing you can possibly imagine for the shot and for the scene and the whole shoot and everything. But just being, watching C. Thomas Howell and Leslie Easterbrook do the scene in the salon and directing it, and then watching, from behind, because C. Thomas Howell's a director as well. So he's always offering help and suggestions and just, improving and just trying to make the scene better, just like Leslie is too. And so just watching them, there was this really cool moment where I'm just like, this is pretty amazing that I'm directing 2 of my favorite actors in a scene together. And they're, it was really cool.
Nice. And what's great is, a lot of these larger actors, they are doing more and more indie films, which is awesome because that's, like we talk about it every week, indie is where you get the best stories. It's not, a sequel, prequel, reboot, whatever, you get the most original stories. And we're seeing so much awesome stuff come from indie. Just real quick, Ray Wise, for indie stuff, he was in Chillerama. If you haven't watched it, definitely check that out. Also, James Duval was in Tales of Halloween, which is one of our favorite Halloween movies.
Great one.
Awesome.
Totally. There was something else too. What am I missing? Oh, not indie, but you talked about Ray Wise. Have you seen Reaper?
I haven't seen it yet.
No.
Short-lived series. It's I think it only lasted 1 season, but if you get a chance to check it out, it's
I knew he did it, and I was actually I remembered thinking I couldn't remember if it lasted 1 or 2 seasons, but I watch anything Ray. I love the Psych episode, USA Psych. With Ray as literally anything Ray, I love anything he does, and he's awesome in everything.
Yep. We want to continue to work with Ray for sure.
Awesome. So we definitely urge you to check out Beast Mode. Comes out December 1st. Information and show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. So we also have a couple social media links, but where do you guys like fans interacting with you?
Yeah, drop us a line on Facebook. I try to get on there now and again. I try to get on the Twitter as well. It's basically the same, Beast Mode the movie, for both of those. And, as we get closer to the release this coming week and first week of December, the week of the release, I'll be on there a lot more. Drop me a message or a comment. I'll be sure to say hey and reply. And I'll try to help out in any way I can of showing where all the outlets and platforms are for all the VOD links and everywhere it'll be available. We're gearing up to do as much press and interviews and PR as we can to get the word out because it is an indie movie. It's not like we're a Paramount or an MGM release. We're thrilled to be with who we're with, and that's Devilworks. We're absolutely thrilled to be with them, and they're doing a great job. So that's it.
And what about you, Chris? Where do you like interacting with people?
Again, anything anybody would like to hit me up, Beast Mode the movie on Facebook or Twitter. Spain responds a lot, but anything that comes in, we share and all of that. And I'm also on Instagram at CWFRMN. That's just CW Freeman, FRMN. So, and I love talking horror movies, hearing from anybody about anything. I'm not quite as lonely as I probably sound, but, I feel a little even lonelier now that I'm trapped. I've been trapped inside so much the last 6 months. So, we'd love to hear from anybody who's interested in talking about the film, horror movies. Cool.
Nice. We'll definitely spread it across our network as well. Sir Patrick.
For me, you can find me. The best place is throwdownthursdaypodcast.com. That has links to all of mine and Ash's social media. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. It's where we put up the battle polls, so you can check us there. The Facebook group. You can find me here every Monday. Obviously, Throwdown Thursday every Thursday. The Loudest Sports Show on YouTube and Spotify and all the fine places you can find podcasts every Friday. You can also check out, if you go to Amazon, you can get my book, How Much Do You Tip an Exorcist? You can check out, what's the other? More Lore from the Mythos, Volume 1 and 2. I have stories in those anthologies. And the new anthology that just dropped, VHS Nightmares. If you like movies like we just talked about, the whole thing centers around, it's a Saturday night in July 1991. And, everything revolves around all the different stories revolve around VHS that you would pick up at your typical mom and pop store on a nice, warm summer night in 1991. So
awesome.
Nice.
I like that. That's very cool.
And for me, just Google Leo Pond. You find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not, but more importantly, follow these awesome people. Check out Beast Mode. And for the network that I run, is head on over to thedorkening.com, which you can find all the shows on the network. 30 shows, which is absolutely insane. We'll just leave you with this: Hollywood, where dreams are made and hearts are broken.
That's it, man. You know it. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Thanks.
Cheers. See ya.